Good evening. I'll call to order the Ascension Parish Council meeting for Thursday, March 20th. If everyone would please stand for the invocation given by our own Ken Dawson, followed by a pledge by our Eagle Scout, Shelby Sabla.
Let us pray. Father, as we come today, again, we give you grace and honor for the opportunity to serve the people of Ascension Parish. Father, as we come, we ask that you watch and you touch the family and bless them with Harold Marchand, former president of Ascension Parish. We thank you for his service and what he has given to the people. And right now we ask that you just heal the hearts and soothe those, oh God, during the time of this bereavement. As we come tonight, we ask for your wisdom, which you give to every man freely. Father, give us the understanding, oh God, to serve the people, oh God, in a way that they deserve, that would be proud of, and that would continue to allow Ascension Parish to be as successful as it has been in the past. We give you all the glory and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Shelby, would you come forward, please, to the microphone and lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Secretary. All members present with the exception of Councilman Joseph Turner, and Councilman Schicksener is now here. I'm sorry, Councilman Satterley is absent as well. Chair's additions, I wanted to call on our Transportation Chair, Dempsey Lambert, for some great news.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to let everyone know that the ribbon cutting has been moved from tomorrow to Tuesday, March the 25th at 11 a.m. at the Galvez Library. And Highway 42, I'm sorry. Want to welcome everyone to come out. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you. Madam Secretary, please note that Councilman Turner has arrived as well. Public comment sign-in period reminder, if you haven't filled out a speaker card and you wish to speak on an item, please go ahead and do so with the Secretary, and you'll have 3 minutes. With that, we'll move into the presentation section. And our first is from our Public Service Commissioner, Mr. Eric Skrmeta. Mr. Skrmeta, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, President Martinez, Council Chair, members of the Council. I'm here today to bring you basically a small report about some of the things we've been doing at the Public Service Commission, which are relevant and important to your community. One of which is that we are moving towards a centralized reporting system for storm recovery and for outages. And we hope to have this up and running by this summer. It will allow citizens to go and observe all outages throughout the state through one centralized system. It will allow them to gain comfort and knowledge about their relatives without having to operate and run through the myriad of various reporting systems and, get to the crux of the issue is their relative in good shape? Is the power on? And where does it go? As you know, the Public Service Commission is tasked with reporting and recovering from outages from all issues, especially during disaster. The other element that I'd like to bring to you is the fact that as of December 19th, the Entergy system has moved into a market for electricity. And what that means is that the company itself is required to purchase electricity from other providers. And this market goes all the way to northern Manitoba in Canada. And it's the central part of the United States, approximately 30% of the United States. If electricity is available to them cheaper than they can produce it, they will be required to buy that electricity, and the savings will pass directly back to the consumer through their fuel adjustment charges. We believe that this will be long-term rate stabilization and long-term savings protection for the consumer, and we are watching it very closely. This is a 5-year engagement with the group. It's the Regional Transmission Operator, MISO, which stands for Mid-Continent Independent Service Organization. And so I think that it's important that we understand how we move forward into the world of transmission and markets and electricity, to understand that we'll be watching it not on a quarterly or a biannually basis. We watch it on a daily basis to make sure we will be covering this for the consumer. And lastly, what I wanted to bring to you today is a discussion of what we are moving towards to assist Ascension Parish in its handling of substandard wastewater systems that are independent and operating in the parish. One of the difficulties in dealing with wastewater systems is that it is very difficult for non-government facilities to acquire capital to do changes that are improved for the consumer. we've been fortunate in both the interest of the parish to develop its own system, as well as a new player in the group, which is a company which I've been meeting with your CAO about, which brings pension funds from Canada, and they are building infrastructure in the state. They are taking over poor performers, and they are purchasing them throughout Louisiana. They will be moving into this area and trying to acquire systems here. We have a commitment of capital in excess of that's going to be spent in the United States in total infrastructure of about $90 billion. We only need a very small section of that for Louisiana. So the capital access is there. I do think that we are in a position to where we will provide the opportunity for the parish to develop its own mechanism or work regionally in a sort of an organizational membership with a private enterprise operation. The actual decision will be yours, and we will do everything we can at the commission to operate in that way. I know I only had 5 minutes, so I want to stop right now. If there's any questions from anybody, I'll be glad to take them, or I will depart. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. I will tell you this. Information on everything I told you will be available on my Twitter account, Facebook, and website, which is locatable as ericscremetta.com, Eric Scremetta Facebook, or Eric Scremetta on Twitter. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you today. Yes, sir.
Mr. Scremetta, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to publicly thank you for the, we've met with you a couple of weeks back and had some good discussions on where we're looking at going with sewer here in the near future, and valuable insight and input into that process and commitment to help us into the future is well appreciated. Just wanted to thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much, Councilman. You know, it's it's better to have the meetings that we have to discuss the things and to resolve the issues and get it working on a good path. You know, the commission, through my own office, we have a town hall meeting in every parish once a year. Up until recently, we had 12 parishes. Now we have 11 after redistricting. But we still come at least once a year for meeting with the general public, and then we will meet with anyone from the parish government at any time, and also consumers at any time. It's our pleasure to do this with you and for you. Wayne.
Anyone else?
All right.
Great.
Thank you
Appreciate
again
your
for the
service.
opportunity to speak to you. Anything we can do for you, please contact us.
Great. Thank you, sir. Item 5B is a proclamation to proclaim March 2014 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Ascension Parish. Mr. President.
Not here? Okay. Whereas March is recognized as National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month to help everyone realize the importance of having individuals with developmental disabilities recognized as active, contributing, fully included members of our communities. Whereas Community Opportunities of East Ascension, COEA, was founded in 1964 and is a nonprofit organization and a division of the ARC. And whereas the mission of COEA is to enhance the quality of life for persons with disabilities and their families through services and advocacy that support choice, independence, and dignity. And whereas the ARC of East Ascension, COEA, will hold a 2-day community event beginning on Friday, March 21st from 9 a.m. till noon at the ARC of East Ascension's center-based respite facility, and continue on Saturday, March 22nd, with their free family event for the public from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. at the KC Hall on Irma Boulevard, and include food, music, entertainment, games, inflatables, face paintings, and more. Now therefore it be proclaimed, I, Tommy Martinez, President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, to hereunto proclaim the month of March 2014 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Ascension Parish. So I've been to this event on a Saturday, and it's well received here in the community, and the ARC and COE do a lot of things in the parish for people with the developmental disabilities. So if you get an opportunity, please take some time and get out to that event Saturday. I think you'll enjoy it.
Is there anybody representing developmental disabilities organizations in the audience? No? Okay. we'll get
Next,
that.
I'd like to call Mr. Shelby Savoy up and his mother. Shelby's here tonight. He took on a project for his Eagle Scout project to raise money for the animal shelter, and did a wonderful job, reached his goal, and we're proud of him, and just want him to maybe tell us a little bit about your project, Shelby. Put that right there.
Hello, my name is Shelby Savoy. I'm with the Boy Scouts, Troop 65. I have recently done my Eagle Scout project, and I wanted to bring awareness to the animal shelter. And I asked people of the public to bring donations, money or things to bring, and I got $814, 366 pounds of dog food, 60 pounds of cat food, 58 blankets, pet blankets, 7 pet beds, 32 toys, 23 cat toys, 13 cat scratchers, and 1 box of kitty litter. And I would like to present this check to the parish of $814.
Do a little thing.
That's cool. Yeah.
Mama, you need to get in the picture.
Great.
Shelby, we want to also give you a little token of our appreciation as a parish, because, if we got about 30 or 40 Boy Scouts to do this every year, we'd be in good shape, wouldn't we? It's a certificate of appreciation. This certificate is hereby awarded to Eagle Scout Shelby Savoy, Troop 65. The Parish of Ascension is proud to present this certificate of appreciation to Eagle Scout Shelby Savoy of Troop 65 for his generous donation to the Ascension Parish Animal Shelter. Eagle Scout Savoy gave unselfishly of his time and showed great determination in completing his goal, which not only benefited the operations of the shelter, but served for the betterment of the animals housed there. We join Council Chairman Chris Law and the entire Parish Council in congratulating Eagle Scout Savoy for his dedication and perseverance in attacking the rank of Eagle Scout while serving for the good of Ascension Parish. Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby. Fantastic example of community service, and we appreciate the example you're setting. Item number D, 5D, Mr. President.
Okay, Sandra and Jamie, come up, please. Thank you. How are you? Good to see you again. How we doing? Good to see you. This is a yearly event. I miss my girl tonight. I don't know, it'll be her first time in 4 years or 5 years that she hadn't come, but she's with her father, I understand. Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana proclamation to proclaim April 2014 as Autism Awareness Month in Ascension Parish. Whereas autism is a lifelong developmental difference associated with significant alteration of an individual's ability to learn in the same way as others. which may include differences in social behaviors and communication. Whereas autism, also known as autism spectrum disorders, affects people regardless of race, religion, socioeconomic status, or geography. Whereas the incidence of autism in the United States is approximately 1 in 88, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Whereas evidence suggests autism is the result of neurological anomalies affecting the functioning of the brain, and few members of the general public understand this complex syndrome. Whereas persons with autism can be helped to reach their greatest potential, accurate early diagnosis, and resulting appropriate education and interventions, as well as community acceptance and accommodations, are vital to the future growth and development of the individual. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed, I, Tommy Martinez, President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, to hear and proclaim April 2014 as Autism Awareness Month in Ascension Parish. Thank y'all.
I just want to thank Ascension Parish. They have been very supportive for especially families, helping families of Greater Baton Rouge. This event is for, our region as well as the region in Livingston Parish. But everyone has been very supportive in the Ascension Parish, such as Bateman's Eyes. The Ascension Parish Inclusive League has been awesome for the kids. That's been wonderful. Even Louisiana Athletics for Prairieville, they'll actually be performing. They have a special needs competition cheer team that travels, and special forces with Dragon Forces off of Highway 42. They'll also be performing at our Autism Walk. We're having a fun fest. We have many people from Ascension Parish that's actually very involved. Because of the support groups, workshops, and trainings, everyone has been very supportive here, and I want to thank Parish President Tommy Martinez. Oh, I do want to thank Lester Kenyon because he also performs at our walk too, so if you want to hear him, he's excellent. And so I want to thank the council and also State Representative Johnny Berthelot, Lambert, and also Senator Jody Amity, which he donated something for the silent auction every year. So, and I'm going to give it to Jamie Tinder, our Executive Director for Families Helping Families.
Thank you all so much. What I wanted to do especially was tell everyone that Ascension, this is our 5th year to have the Autism Walk, and Families Helping Families, we serve about 10,000 individuals with disabilities and their families per year. And hands down, Ascension Parish has been the lead in supporting us in the Autism Walk by far. I mean, fundraising, attendance. Ascension Parish has always been so very good to us. And we serve East and West Baton Rouge, East and West Feliciana, Point Coupee, Iberville, and Ascension, and Livingston as well. So, so kudos to Ascension Parish for always stepping up and being the lead in the fundraising for us and help us continue the program that we have. Thank you.
Okay, item number 6 is the Parish President's Report. Mr. President, did you have something for the Parish President's Report? Okay. With that, we'll move on to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. The chair would entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Any objections? Hearing none, consent agenda is adopted. We'll move to item number 8, which is a resolution to enact legislation, Ascension Parish Infrastructure Development District's alternative funding mechanisms to fund and maintain subdivision infrastructure. This came through Finance Committee and was also discussed in Transportation last week. Before I open it up for public comment period, I did want legal counsel, Mr. Parrington, had a request to have him read the resolution throughout, since there had been a change sent by Senator Amity to the Senate bill that this resolution is about in the last week. So, Mr. Parrington, if you'd do us a favor, please, of reading that resolution, and then I'll open it up for public comment period.
You want me to read the resolution or the bill?
I'm sorry, the bill. Excuse me.
Let me read the bill. To enact 334690.13 relative to Ascension Parish, to authorize the parish governing authority to create road infrastructure development districts, to provide relative to the authority of such districts to undertake road projects and to finance them by levying taxes and assessments and incurring debt, to provide relative to taxes, assessments, and debt, to provide for general powers and duties of the district, to provide for an effective date, and to provide for related matters. The notice of intention to introduce this act has been published, being enacted by the Louisiana Legislature. Section 1 RS 334690.13 is hereby enacted to read as follows. Ascension Parish Road Infrastructure Development Districts. The findings and purpose. The legislature finds that there are pockets of Ascension Parish which possess potential for development and redevelopment. However, before such development can take place, basic road infrastructure must be provided and upgraded in the areas. The legislature finds the traditional method of financing road infrastructure development, separate taxes or assessments on each end of road improvement, and through very appropriate in many areas, may not be the best way to provide multiple road improvements in a relatively small geographic area. The legislature found that an effective method of financing a spectrum of road infrastructure improvements in a small geographic area is to finance the entire undertaking in a single package rather than levying separate taxes for each individual road improvement. It is the purpose of this section to authorize a levy of ad valorem property taxes and non-ad valorem assessments for financing road infrastructure improvements projects in Ascension Parish. The legislature further finds that given the complexity of such projects and geographic compactness of the areas contemplated by such development, the governing authority of Ascension Parish may wish to create special taxing districts having the authority to plan and execute the road infrastructure development projects and the levy ad valorem taxes and non-ad valorem taxes authorized by this section. Even if the governing authority of the parish serves as the governing authority of the district, there are proven political and legal advantages to use of special taxing districts for carrying out governmental functions. It is further the purpose of the section to authorize the governing authority of Ascension Parish to create special taxing districts authorized to do those things necessary, as prescribed in this section, to finance, execute, and maintain road infrastructure development projects such as those described in this subsection. Without limiting the authority of any governing authority of the parish or governing authority of the parish of Ascension as provided by the government home rule charter, the governing authority may create special taxing districts within the parish for the purpose of new residential road infrastructure improvements subject to the provisions of this section. The parish governing authority may not create such a district until a public hearing is held on the issue. Any such district shall be a political subdivision as defined by Article 6, Section 44 of the Constitution, and shall have all the authority granted by the Constitution, the Home Rule Charter of Ascension Parish, in this section. The parish governing authority may serve as the governing authority of any such special district. The parish governing authority may, at its discretion, requires a condition of creation of a road infrastructure development district that title to or control of the responsibility of the maintenance of all the road infrastructure projects within the district be transferred to the parish governing authority in accordance with the existing ordinances and practices. Special powers. The district may, subject to applicable regulatory jurisdiction and permitting authority of other public entities and officials, finance, fund, plan, establish, acquire, construct, reconstruct, or enlarge, extend, equip, operate, and maintain systems, facilities, and basic road infrastructure for the following: bridges or culverts that may be needed across or in any drain, ditch, or canal, roadway, holding basin, excavation, public highway, track, grade, fill, or cut of the roadways or over levees and embankments, and may construct any of such works and improvements there across, though over any public right-of-way, hill, highway, grade, fill, or cut. District road equals to the exceeding parish specifications and street lights. The taxing authority. The governing authority of the special taxing district created as such in this section may levy and collect in the same manner and the same time as all other ad valorem taxes
in the parish or levied and collected a special ad valorem tax not to exceed 15 mills on all taxable immovable property situated within the boundaries. The ad valorem tax provided for herein shall be in addition to all other ad valorem taxes provided by law. The proceeds of the tax authorized by this paragraph may only be used for any and all road projects within the district, including the ordinary expense of the district. To plan, establish, acquire, construct, reconstruct, enlarge, or extend or equip facilities and projects to the district, to pay the expenses associated with and are related to the issuance of bonds for such facilities and projects, the district governing authority may levy a special benefit. The district governing authority shall determine the amount of the assessment based upon the report of the district's engineer and shall assess the lands benefited by the improvement. Such assessment may be apportioned in proportion to the benefit received by each tract of land. The benefit assessment shall be levied and payable in equal installments for each year in which the bonds secured by the assessments are outstanding. The tax collector shall collect and enforce assessments in the same manner at the same time as ad valorem taxes. Special benefit assessment shall be on a lien on the property against to which until assessed until paid. To maintain and preserve and operate facilities and road projects of the district and district governing authority may levy a maintenance special assessment. The district governing authority shall determine the amount of the assessment based upon the report of the district's engineers and shall assess lands benefited by road improvements. Such assessments to be apportioned in proportion to the benefits received by each tract. Assessments shall be collected and enforced by the tax collector in the same manner at the same time as ad valorem taxes. Maintenance special elections shall be a lien on the property against which assessed until paid. General powers and duties. The governing authority of the district shall have the following additional powers: to adopt bylaws for the regulations of its affairs and conduct its business, to adopt an official seal and alter the seal with pleasure, to maintain an office at such pleasure as may designate, to occupy space for such purposes may be available by the parish governing authority, to sue and be sued, to administer, to receive, administer, and comply with the conditions and requirements of any gift, grant, guarantee, subsidy, donation of any property or money, to acquire by any lawful means property, including rights of ways, and to hold and use any franchise of property, whether real, personal, or mixed, tangible or intangible, necessary or desirable for carrying the objects and purposes of the district, to borrow money and issue bonds or obligations of the district in the manner provided by this section and to refund the same, to make and execute contracts and other instruments necessary to the exercise of the powers of function of the district, to pledge or assign any monies, fees, or other revenues or proceeds derived in the district from the sale of bonds or other contracts or rights of the district, to employ such employees, to make use of such persons the parish governing authority may make available to the district for its use, to employ or otherwise retain the service of accountants, financial advisors, underwriters, attorneys, engineers, or other such consultants as may be required in the judgment of the governing authority, and to fix their pay and compensation, to exercise all the powers necessary to accomplish the purposes set forth, authority to incur debt. For any lawful purpose, the district authority may issue bonds secured by and payable from the pledge of the proceeds of ad valorem property taxes and non-ad valorem assessments authorized by this sections. The bond shall have the form, characteristics, and detail, and shall be issued in accordance with the subsection, with this subsection and all other laws applicable to the issuance of bonds by political subdivisions, including but not limited to Article 6, Section 35 of the Constitution, and Part 4 of Chapter 11 and Chapter 13, 13A, 14, 14A of Title 39 of Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950. The district governing authority shall utilize the issuance of bonds by adoption of a resolution. It may not adopt a resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds until a proposition authorizing the funding or tax of the tax or assessment into bonds and stating the purpose or purpose of such bonds will be issued as approved by the majority of the qualified district electors voting on the proposition at an election held for that purpose and conducted in accordance with the Louisiana Election Code. The bond shall be such a series, bear such dates or dates, be serial of term, maturity at such time, or at no time later than 30 years from this date, bear interest at such rate or rates payable on such dates, be in such denominations, be in such form, carry such registration, exchangeability provisions, be available in such medium payment at such place or places, be subject to such terms and redemption, and be entitled to such priorities on the tax or assessment if the resolution authorizing such bonds may provide. The bonds may be executed in the name of the district by the manual or facsimile signature of such official or officials as may be designated by the resolution authorizing the issuance. If any officer whose manual or facsimile signature appears on any bond ceases to be such officer and before the delivery of such bonds, such signatures nevertheless shall be valid and sufficient for all purposes as if it had been remained in office until such delivery. The resolution may provide for an authentication of the bonds by the fiscal agent thereunder. The commissioners, officers, and employees of the district, or any other person executing the bonds on the district while acting within the scope of the authority shall not be personally liable for the bonds, nor be subject to personal liability or accountability by reasons of issue and sale or delivery thereof. The holders of any bonds issued hereunder shall have the rights and remedies as may be provided by the resolution authorizing the issuance of bonds, including, but not by way of limitation, appointment of a trustee, for bondholders, and any other applicable civil action to compel compliance with the terms and provisions of the bonds and resolution. Until all such bonds issued pursuant to this subsection have been retired as to principal and interest or irrevocable provisions otherwise made for their complete redemption and payment on principal, interest, and redemption premium, if any, neither the legislature nor the district or any authority may act to impair any obligation of contract for the benefit of the holders of the bonds, discontinue or decrease the tax or assessment, or permit the discontinued or decrease the tax or assessment and participation in the collection of which such bonds have been issued. Make any change in the allocation and dedication of the proceeds of such tax would diminish the amount of tax revenues to be received. There is hereby vested in the holders of such bonds a contract right in the provisions of the subsection. Bonds issued pursuant to the subsection shall have all the qualities of negotiable paper and shall be negotiable instruments under applicable state law. They shall be invalid for any irregularity or defect in proceedings for the issuance and shall thereof and shall be incontestable in the hands of bona fide purchaser holders for value. All bonds and all income thereof shall be exempt from taxation by the state and any political subdivision thereof. The bonds shall be legal authorized for investments by banks, savings banks, insurance companies, homesteads and buildings and loan associations, trustees and other fiduciaries, and may be issued or deposited for any office of board or political subdivision of state in any case where by present or future laws deposit of security is required. All bonds issued shall be advertised for sale on sealed bids. The district may reject any and all bids. If the bonds are not sold pursuant to the advertisement, they be sold by the commission at a private sale within 60 days after the date advertised for the reception of the sealed bids. But no private sale shall be made at a price less than the highest bid received. If not so sold, the bond shall be advertised as prescribed in this paragraph. The proceeds derived from the sale of the bond shall be used exclusively for the issue for the purpose or purposes of which the bonds are authorized to be issued. But the purchase of bonds shall not be obligated to see the application thereof. This act shall become effective upon the signature of the governor, or if not signed by the governor, upon expiration of time for bills to become law without signature by the governor as provided by Article 3, Section 18 of the Constitution of Louisiana. If vetoed by the governor and subsequently approved by the legislature, the act shall become effective on the date following the approval.
Thank you, Mr. Barrington. I'll now open it up for public comment period. Our first comment card is from John Robert, Sr.
John Robert Sr. I live at Highway 942 in Darrow. I've been a resident of Ascension Parish my whole life. During that time, there are very few roads, new roads that's been built, sad to say. We are faced with a critical situation in Ascension Parish, as you well know. And I understand what you're trying to do here. I also know that we landowners are taxed pretty heavy. Additional tax is really going to put a lot of people in a bind. We are blessed in Ascension Parish with resources that far surpass a lot of places in this whole United States and also in Louisiana. But have we used those resources to our benefit? I was about 20 years old when we first brought industry in Louisiana, Arnett. It was a job to get industry here then. So we had to give something up. We gave tax exemptions. Would you believe that was in 1957? We needed those jobs. The sad part, the infrastructure from that time till now has hardly changed. You can name roads on one hand that has been added. Highway 30, the 4-lane road in Sorrento. That's about it. Interstate. But that's it. Since that time, we've been overwhelmed. Certainly, industry, we wanted industry. It brought great jobs. But what have we given up? We've given up a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Roberry.
I'm a taxpayer. I own property.
I need you to wrap it up, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
I really believe that what we need to do is work with industry. Each one of those guys heading these plants are great people. I had the opportunity to work with them when I was farming my 44 years. They are absolutely outstanding individuals. They understand our problem.
Okay,
But they're not going to come forward unless you go to them and talk to them and let them know what our problems are, and they can help. They have the resources.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Please
Appreciate the comment.
do that.
Thank you. Mr. Roy Domain.
Good afternoon. Roy Domain, live at 40472 Highway 621 in Gonzales. And I appreciate Mr. Tommy, all the council people. Thank you all for serving. No doubt, Ascension has been in a point of growth, and there's nothing but growth staged ahead. And no doubt, we have a tremendous need to help improve what we have. You know, we've got this tremendous growth from the plants, yet we need the workers. The workers need a place to live. We've got to be able to house them, okay? Which is all good. And all of us that are here, and even the newcomers, don't want to come knowing that there's another tax that's going to be pending, okay, that would throw them out of the way. I understand what we're trying to do here. We're trying to enable legislation. There are a lot of questions about it, and I regret that there possibly hasn't been enough time for the public to have some input as to some of the language that could go into this. And I understand there's some timing about how to make that happen to get it through the legislature in this session. But let me just throw this out, and there might be some darts on my back when I leave from this, but let's just throw this out. I believe, as Mr. Robert just suggested, we've got to pull some big people together. So I submit a few thoughts without having to increase taxes. We go back to Sheriff Wiley, who believes we need better roads. We ask him to give up 1/2 of the half cent that we have passed twice for him. And we move that 1/2 cent, that half of that half, into roads specifically. We go back to drainage. We passed a 1/2 cent for them. We've passed it a second time. We go back to them and the same. We take a 1/2 of their half and we dedicate it specifically to roads. That gives us the 1/2 cent that we need, okay? That was asked for, that a lot of people voted, and the public, the ones who did vote, said we don't need it enough, so they turned it down. That gives us a 1/2 cent. Property taxes. This subject's been toyed with. Let's move it. Let's take the 14% that we send to the library board and we give it to DPW. We take the 3% that was going to DPW and we give it to the library. Most of us have encyclopedias on our hips, okay? When we want to Google something, we got it in our pocket, all right? The other thing is that parish-wide sales and growth has been tremendous. So with the increase that all of the departments are getting, everybody that receives taxes, everything's going up. So why not go to each one of them and say, I need $1 of every 100 dedicated to roads, and earmark that money coming in. And I believe we would have enough money out of the taxes that we already collect to do what we need to do, and that is better roads so that we can improve the transportation of our parish for all of us. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Ms. Martha Johnson.
Hello, I'm Martha Johnson. I live on Highway 621. Yes, it is a nightmare getting in and out of that in the morning. I've been out there taking pictures of the traffic that's backed up. I've read Senator Amedee's bill. I called and talked to Lauren today. She said he was pulling it and he was rewriting it. So what's the purpose of y'all voting on a resolution to accept this bill and it may change? It's kind of, sneaky in my opinion. But I had questions I wanted to say. In this bill, there's no provision for elderly, people on fixed incomes, unless there's something in the property tax I'm not aware of. What about people that have no skin in the game, meaning they rent here or they just drive through here, they live here, don't pay any property taxes other than sales taxes, I think when you say you're creating special taxing districts, it sounds like redistribution of income. It sounds like certain districts will get certain projects. It just smells stinky to me. Exactly what are ordinary expenses of a district? What is that? Do y'all know what that is? What would that entail? Is that the project? Also, you're creating another bureaucracy in this bill. You're creating a bureaucracy of an office with office employees. Are they going to be parish employees? Are they getting parish pensions? I mean, where's the funds coming for that? How's that going to come to be? Other than, is there instant money? How much money does the state give us now for road improvements? I know it's just state highways, but if you do this, are they going to withdraw money back or take money back from what we already have or what's already allotted? These are questions that I just came up with, just by reading the bill and just going over certain things. And then who is the governing authority other than, is it y'all or is it just Martinez? Who is that going to be? Every tax decrease was never decreased, never. Every tax increase has always been proposed to the people. You're just taking this away from the people to say yay or nay. And it goes to y'all or whoever you're going to be. I think that's very unfair. It's like taxation without representation. And I don't think that's what we should be doing in this country. Thank you.
Okay. Al Robert.
Thank you all very much. Al Robert, Highway 44, Burnside, Louisiana. Last week, March 10th, the morning after our financial meeting, we had a breakfast for tourism. I sat next to Chairman Chris Lohr, and I asked him about the financial meeting, and he said that they were trying to do something for new roads and new subdivisions, along with an impact fee. Later on that day, I got a copy of the bill from Jody Amedee, our senator. This bill was introduced by Jody and created a taxing authority for the parish, with the power to create a tax district anywhere for any reason. Jody Amedee said he didn't know the bill was so broad, with quick take and other things, and unlimited taxing authority. He said he was going to pull the bill and reintroduce it. He also said that he would not support the bill unless he got 100% backing from the council. If our parish council chairman, Chris Lohr, and our senator, Jody Amedee, who introduced the bill, did not know what was in the bill, go figure. Jody did reintroduce the bill, and in reality did not change the fact that at the council's will, they can propose a tax up to 15 mills, anywhere, anytime, for any reason. Till 2 years ago, everybody thought a mill was a sugar mill or a sawmill. Now, the end of the year is dreaded because of assessments. We all now know that a mill is not sugar. How much more does the parish take in because of the new assessments? We did not pass any new taxes that were proposed at the voting polls. So through creating a taxing authority, our council can tax us at their will. Ms. Terry Cazzo asked at the financial meeting, Mr. O'Neill, how would a new homeowner know that they were going to be taxed in that new subdivision? He suggested that they ask their loan agent or check the assessment. How would that work if the taxing authority placed a tax at a later date? Would it be appropriate to tax the first phase of a subdivision after the second and third phase tore the roads up? The authority will also have the power to lien your property. Not many property owners want to lien on their property that they have no control over. Please forget about creating this future nightmare if it truly is for new subdivision roads you're concerned about. Let's address that only, and let's make sure that the roads we accept will last. Period. That can be done. Thank you all very much.
Catherine Gupple.
Before the clock starts, Mr. Chairman, I'd like a point of information on the document itself as it was read. Do you mind me asking Mr. Parrington, O'Neill Parrington, about it? Because he read a word that I don't have in my document.
It's up to Mr. Parrington if he wishes to answer.
I can only tell you what I have here.
Well, it's an important word. He said may, and it's shall in my document. So I'd like on page 3, line 2, it says the parish governing authority shall serve. It doesn't say may serve. Shall serve. That's a big difference.
Shall serve, that's correct.
Very good. Thank you, sir. That's all. Okay. Here's the public notice I received in January 23rd in our paper about this potential bill, and I called Senator Amity when I saw it immediately. And I said, what is this about? And he said, well, it's only for roads, and it's only for new subdivisions. I said, okay. That's not what the bill's about. Currently, we have a second draft, and a third is in the works. So you will be voting tonight on something that you have not read and don't really know what the final product will be. And Councilman Casso, that's how the sausage is made at the Capitol. Nobody knows what it'll be when it gets up to the Capitol. It goes in one way, and it comes out another. And it's not a good process, and it's not easy. And it's very hard for the public to go and have any kind of say in that process. Why do you need to create special taxing districts when you have the power to tax in the parish charter? Why not come to the public with a ballot initiative? Is it cowardice? Is it a lack of priorities and poor planning that have created a lack of trust among the people? All these and more. This bill allows this governing body to create taxing district with one public hearing. Will you listen? Probably not. You are totally in charge of where the lines are drawn and what projects are chosen. The word subdivision does not appear in the bill. Rather, development and redevelopment related to new residential road infrastructure. You will maintain office, hire employees, accountants, financial advisors, underwriters, attorneys, engineers, and consultants, but show me where the 3 mills mentioned in the digest out of a possible 15 is found in the bill. It's not there. On page 3, line 28 and 29, we have a large loophole that you can really use the money for ordinary expenses of the district. What is that? Then there's a special assessment and a maintenance assessment. These are non-ad valorem. Each property owner in the district will pay his portion of any project that you choose. You will borrow money, but only if the people vote. There you go. Now the people get an opportunity to say yay or nay. You had $5 million from Ascension Hospital and you're building new office buildings. Sales tax revenues are up, reassessments have increased, property tax revenue, and you will see a 17% increase when the property currently not on the rolls is added. You couldn't get the people to support a tax for roads because you wanted to build intersections, not lanes, and take over state roads, not take care of parish roads. Stop taking subdivision roads into the parish. Let developers work this out with the new homeowners. This bill is a bad idea. It is a sledgehammer in your toolbox on the heads of the people. It needs to stop right here. But if not, remember Quick Take. It'll be deja vu all over again at the Capitol, and this time it won't be just a handful of people. Thank you.
Mr. Clint Quitmont.
Good evening. Good evening. Clint Quitmont, I'm a voter here in Ascension Parish and also a local business owner. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak on Senate Bill 278 regarding taxing districts. After first hearing about the bill through the Finance Committee on March 10th, I was shocked by the fact that I was hearing about the tax districts for the first time. That was 10 days ago. And here, we're passing a resolution to enact legislation on this bill. I thought the proper procedure was for an item to go before a subcommittee for public discussion. After a failed half-cent road tax, a failed fire tax, lack of support for a sewer tax, lingering impact fees, and proposed recreation tax to be put on the ballot, I am not going to stand here and accuse this administration or members of this council of trying to pull a fast one on Ascension Parish citizens. But I will tell you, it just looks bad. Speaking with people throughout the parish, they're telling me that there's a huge disconnect and lack of trust between citizens and parish government. Maybe this type of behavior has something to do with it. The original draft, the first revision of the bill is so vague and unclear. At this junction in time, without public input, I'm not interested in seeing a third or fourth version. As a voter and concerned citizen, I'm asking Senator Amade to pull this bill and for this council to vote no on this resolution tonight. The citizens of the parish are watching. What you do today will speak volumes of your intentions as elected officials. The hire and fire date for our elected officials is Election Day 2015. What you do today may determine your fate. Thank you.
Ernest Opperman.
Hello, my name is Ernest Opperman. Resident here in Ascension Parish for probably going on 50-something years. Getting close anyways. I'm just here to say that, I've been to a lot of meetings in the last few years, and I've seen a lot of issues come up about taxes, and we need money for this, we need money for that. There's always to be a need. And, like I say, back in the day when the people started moving in was the time to really try to get a hold to the roads and the sewage and the this and the that. And we all just kind of let it slide by, and now it's gotten to a point that it's critical. The federal government's always looking for money. They can print it up, so they have a way to cover themselves. State government's got to have extra monies. So they're selling buildings. They're doing things they can do to try to get extra money. Local government, you have to try to either make do and change up ways of doing business to make do with what you have, or you've got to raise taxes. Like I say, we've been here in Ascension Parish, and we've had taxes come up in the last few years, road taxes, fire district taxes, garbage fees, trying to single source garbage services out. There's always to be certain things coming in. The people are always having to wonder what's going to happen the next day. We've got a new plan for a new recreation coming in. A lot of people want it, a lot of people might not want it, but it's something that the parish is going to bring forth, because I think y'all think, the people want it, and a lot of people do want it. I know that. I've talked to a lot of people, my friends. Younger people, I'm older, I ain't got any grandkids, I ain't got any kids here, so, I know it'd be nice to have these extra parks, but it costs money. We know that. And then we got this thing called the sewage and waste and water facilities. It's got to come in. Federal government's going to make us do that. That's a mandated thing. So we know that we got a big tax, not a decent sized tax. We're talking anywhere from $500 to $1 billion probably on this project. So there's so many taxes that we know are coming. I've lived here and paid taxes for 35 years here in Ascension Parish. I'm getting close to the end of my days when I hope to retire. It's still a few years off, but if we keep having taxes, especially if we don't get to vote on them, and people are able to shove something through legislation and say, hey, you will be paying these taxes because we decided to do it this way. Well, all of a sudden, I've lived here, and if I retire and I've only got a certain amount of income, what does that mean? That I'm going to have to look at going to another parish to live? I wouldn't want to, but, you know, I've only got limited sources when I get to that point. I appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to me, and I hope y'all think seriously before y'all do vote for this package.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lynn Whitmer.
Attention Councilman, my name is Lynn Whitmer, and I'm from Councilman Kluwat's district, and I'm against your resolution supporting the SB 278 to give the local government more authority to create taxing districts. Ascension Parish residents have made it loud and clear that we don't want any more taxes, but y'all don't listen. Don't tell me that these are residents that aren't here yet. How can people that aren't here have any say in creating a taxing district? There is nothing in the bill that would stop you from drawing lines wherever you want. The parish president and certain councilmen try to find other ways to get their way, and they do not listen to the people who voted them in. Please stop and listen and do your job. I am against how Ascension Parish councilmen are doing things against the best interests of the people in regards to taxes. How can we trust you when you continue to waste public money? You want to build a 30-meg sports complex at Lamar Dixon when the people were against buying Lamar Dixon. You bailed out the Balloon Fest. You raised your salaries. The government should be about serving the public, but you have used the system to serve yourselves. If the roads were really a priority, you need to say no more taxes and no more support for the hot air balloons. The local government should not be in existence to continue buying and creating more real estate to maintain and operate on the back of taxpayers in our parish. Is this the legacy you want to leave in the minds of the public? Our senators should think twice about supporting this bad bill to grow government and increase taxes on the good people of our parish. Yes, we need money for roads, so why don't you make that a priority and show us what you can do with what you have? Until then, your foolishness also reinforces our belief that we cannot trust you. I am just one person, but you can find hundreds of others in our parish that feel just like I do, but can't or won't come to stand before you and tell it like it is, because this isn't easy to do. I would like to say thank you to Councilman Sadley and Councilman Lambert, who spoke out against this at the recent finance meeting. And I really appreciate Councilman Malonson staying against it also. Please do not pass this resolution before you tonight. Have them pull the bill. Thank you.
That's all the public speaker cards I have. Mr. President, did you have some information as far as a slide or something of that I believe you were going to share?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could get the slide up. That was something that was presented in the recent transportation meeting that I thought it was important that we kind of discuss so that everybody will be on the same page. Next slide, please. If you look at it, it kind of talks about how much money it takes to maintain a road in different conditions. Now, $6 per foot per year is what it takes to kind of maintain a perfect road, but we're not looking at a near perfect strategy. We kind of want to get acceptable roads. If you look at that number, it's about $3.5 per foot per year. The parish now has about 500 miles of parish road that we now own. And I think that when I got here, there was always some issues about roads being taken in, subdivisions, quality of those roads, and what it would take for the upkeep. kind of looking at a kind of acceptable number of what it would take to have acceptable type roads. That cost is about $9.2 million per year. The amount of money that's taken in through the half cent sales tax, a portion of that is utilized and earmarked for road maintenance. We can see that looking at what the cost of what it actually takes to maintain what we have now and what we get in, there is a substantial deficit. At the present rates, we're gaining about 1.5% a year on the number of roads we're taking into the system. And if you would go to the next slide, which talks about the increases in maintained roadways, you know, look at from 2011, and these are prices, additional costs per year to maintain roads that are taken into the system, which I think is required by ordinance. As we receive a plat, those roads come in with it. If you look at it, some of the roads that are planned to come on this year, just the developments that are here, you have a cost of almost $390,000. Just to add one thing, I had opportunity to talk to Mr. Guillory of Baton Rouge today about some of the things they do there. What happened, they had the half-cent sales tax that they passed maybe in the late 90s, funded a lot of money for them to maintain their rehabilitation program as far as road infrastructure. It also generated enough money for them to do the green light program. Right now they have about 26% or 27% that's now dedicated to road maintenance. They just have a half-cent sales tax that funds them enough money. But they did say something pretty interesting as related to what we're talking about tonight. What they do implement in a sense of sewer, they have a taxing district. And they go into a subdivision that's developing a sewer, and they say that we will afford you the ability to build a sewer. To connect to our system, you will pay a certain amount until that debt is taken care of, and then of course that will fall off the book. So I had a long talk with him today, and I'm gonna go and visit with him some more. But I thought it was important that you kind of look at these numbers that were presented at the transportation meeting, because it is an increased cost. And one other thing I want to say is that the engineering department and administration is doing everything that we can to look at other options to bring in other dollars. We go to the federal government. We look at how we can go after different grants to bring in extra dollars to kind of assist in the program. One thing is the trade program with the state. I know it's sometimes cumbersome to understand how it's done, but if you kind of look at what Baton Rouge did, whether or not we decided to do it or not, they're building maybe a $13 million project down Government Street as just a trade program with the state. I'm not saying everything is perfect, but we got to figure out a way where we kind of offset on some of this that would help aid the situation. The bottom line is that we're still taking in roads, and we don't have the funding that's allocated to pay for it at this time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yeah. Mr. Dawson, I agree with you, and I think 6 months back or so, whenever we brought the half-cent sales tax to the public, I stood up here and I mentioned it at the transportation meeting, that we needed to put some money in the maintenance funds. But the majority of this council up here said we had enough funds to handle the maintenance. The plan was to do a lot of state highways. And that didn't go over with the public for us selling that tax. I think that sales tax is still our way to go, but I think we need to come up with a better plan, because we need to maintain parish roads. That is our job duty. That is the citizens' money that, we are paying. I know we travel to state highways. I know we travel them, but we are paying taxes on state. Every gallon of gas you buy, you're paying a certain amount of percent going to roads and transportation. So, and now we come to 6 months later saying we don't have enough funds. I'm just kind of puzzled that 6 months ago when we tried to pass this tax, might have been further than that. Time flies by. We didn't need it, but now we need it, and I think that would have helped sell that tax if we'd had more parish road maintenance involved in that tax than what we had. And I hate to bring this one up, but again, 2 months ago we paid $1.2 million to extend the road, and it's going to benefit only one thing, and I'm not even going to bring that name up. And it's just a shovel-ready project. And then we come back a month later, and y'all tell me we're about to run, the funds are very low. We're looking for funds. So I'm puzzled there again. We didn't have any questions when we paid that 1.2. It was like, bam, we have the funding, yeah, let's do it. And there again, we are spending a lot of money on state highways. I know the situation that we're in, but a lot of it was promised by previous, past president that we had to pay the sewer for 73 and 42. So, but it has escalated quite a bit from when we was going to pay 1 million here, 2 million here, and it's just, and here we are looking for another way. I know it's not a tax here tonight. I know it's just legislative, but down the road it is a tax to the people, and I have a little issue with that.
Okay, Councilman Cazzo?
I want to clarify that certainly over 2 years ago, we were well advised that the cost of maintenance and widening projects and intersection improvements was outpacing our resources. That was those statements were made. It was even made on the day of our inauguration, and I didn't understand it certainly to mean just state roads. I understood it to mean the projects that the widening, the cost of maintenance, and our intersection improvements were being outpaced by our resources. So the half-cent sales tax was proposed. Had it passed, we could have done the work on the intersections and other issues that would have made our traffic move better, and that would have freed up money for maintenance, and we would not be where we are today. But chickens always come home to roost, and eventually we're going to run out of funds because we just cannot keep taking in roads and keep maintaining the ones we have without some additional resources. I think there was ample evidence of that in the Transportation Committee and again tonight. It just costs too much. So while I have a couple of questions about this bill, and it certainly concerns me, I don't know if this is not a good tool as a taxing district. I think it might be a good tool for those roads coming into our parish in the future. I want clarity that it will in fact speak to only new subdivisions, and I would like to see it be as transparent for the public, some notification somehow. I mean, that's something that the legal department, I'm sure, would have to work through. And I have questions about how the district will be formed. So maybe Mr. Parrington can give us some more information. Who would initiate that first creation?
This is an enabling statute by the state. Okay. The discussions that have taken place before about what would occur after this would be that property owners, a property owner or property owners would have to come before this council and ask to create a road district. Okay. You would, or an infrastructure district. You would authorize that, but it would only be at the request of the property owners. They'd have to be part of that. And once you created it, then an election would take place to set a millage. That's what the Baton Rouge statute does. That's what this is copied after. I see Councilman Malonzo shaking his head. That's what Baton Rouge does. That's what the statute says.
Councilman Malonzo, hold on, you're on the floor. I'll give you, okay.
That's how it works in Baton Rouge. That's exactly how they do it. The landowner, you cannot have an infrastructure district unless the majority, they cannot pass a tax. And the way the ordinance was being drafted was that property owners who wanted to be part of a district, who wanted to have a maintenance, it would be done because if someone wanted to build a subdivision, they'd have two choices. You would have private roads. Those plats would say, these are private roads. They cannot ever be taken into the parish system. They would have to be maintained by the HOA. Those roads would not be maintained by the parish. The alternative would be, I want to have a road district. I want the parish to maintain my roads. And to do such, this is what I want to do. This is the road district. These are the people. This is it. I'd come before the council and I'd have to create a road district. Then the owners of that property, whether it be one person or more person, would have to vote to assess a millage on their property. That millage would be only on that property, and the taxes collected could only be used to maintain the roads in that particular property. Couldn't be used anyplace else, couldn't be used by anyone else. The concept was that they would have an intergovernmental agreement with the parish and just operate as part of DPW. But the money would be in a separate fund, only to be worked on those particular roads of those people who voted for that millage, or who are paying that millage.
These roads would be maintained as public roads.
As public roads, but the maintenance fund would be there, it would be the separate funds.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Alonso.
Okay, first of all, I was shaking my head because you're saying that this can only be done by a landowner who comes before us and asks us to do it. Can you tell me where in this bill it mentions that?
Sure, a public hearing would be before y'all. How do you have a public hearing without before the council?
Well, because we could say we want to create a taxing district and we can have a public hearing. That doesn't mention at all anywhere in there that a landowner has to come to us and ask for that. You're drawing something very, very far away from what it actually says to say.
I'm drawing what's in Baton Rouge's statute, and I'm telling you how the ordinance would have been drafted to read. Now, if you didn't if you didn't want that ordinance, you wouldn't have to pass. Right now, nothing can take place.
That still doesn't speak to that a landowner has to come to us before we do it.
Well, how would you create you would create a district without the proof, without the authority of the landowners?
That's the concern that we all have here. That's what the concern that everyone that just came to this mic spoke about. That's the problem. We don't see anything other than that in this bill. And you made it very clear to me before that because none of us are lawyers, we're not smart enough to understand what's in it. So I texted a lawyer that I know that's very, very versed in tax assessments and whatever, and asked him the question that we talked about. And he told me in a text right before this meeting started, no, that's not what the bill says. So whether it is or not, it at least says that there is a concern on whether it is or not. There's a debate. So the fact that it doesn't say in here clearly that the tax needs to be brought before a vote of the people is a concern. Because I have another lawyer telling me that it doesn't say that, and we can assess a tax without bringing before a vote of the people.
The other lawyer represents the assessor, and read his website, Councilman. It says millages are passed by the people.
At least for debate. It's there for debate, and so I will not pass something that is questionable about whether or not we can sit up here and assess taxes on citizens without a vote. This brings memories to me of the juvenile tax that we just did. You say a tax can never be brought on people without a vote of the council and without a vote of the people? We just did it a couple months ago. We brought a $1 million tax to the people for juvenile detention.
Because the legislature authorized you to do it.
And we're asking the legislature to authorize it here.
No, you're not.
You can say it's not, but I'm being told by another, that's your opinion, and I have another lawyer with a different opinion, which means now it's got to go before the courts to be hashed out. The language needs to be in the bill that says it has to go before a vote of the people. I will not vote for anything that doesn't say it.
Councilman, I'm not advising you how to vote or not vote. That's your decision. I'm just telling you what the bill says. I'm telling you how the bill works in Baton Rouge.
And then there's so many other issues with the bill as well. A lot of them were brought up earlier by a lot of other people. But we're going to put liens on people's homes with an assessment. So what happens if in the middle of that lien, because it can be multi-year, a homeowner wants to sell their house. Now they've got a lien on their property and they can't sell it clear. What do we do about that? I mean, there's a lot of things in here that really, really need to be addressed before we push to go to legislature. Another thing with these special assessments is how much of a nightmare is that going to be for people's escrow? You got a mortgage, you got escrow that every year if your insurance goes up a little bit, which it normally does, now you have to either pay. I just had to make a $500 check out to my mortgage company very recently because my insurance went up. And so I had to go make that check, or either that or my note went up by $30 a month. Well, how much of a headache and nightmare is it going to be for them to keep up with this when you have a special assessment that goes on for 2 years and then goes off, and then you have another special assessment that goes on and then goes off. Now you're not just keeping up with your regular tax bill and the insurance that goes up. You've got numbers going up and down on that many residents. And also, we keep talking about new subdivisions. We keep talking about small little areas. We keep talking about a small pocket of landowners. There's nothing in this bill that defines how big or small the taxing district has to be. We can create a taxing district that the boundaries, by the way this is written, the boundaries are the boundaries of the parish. So now we have a taxing district over the whole parish and we can just assess taxes on it without going for a vote of the people. I mean, these things need to be addressed big time. And quite frankly, I'd like to see the people have more say in a vote on whether or not we're going to pass a bill to even allow the taxing districts.
Okay, Mr. President, did you have something? Okay. Councilman Lambert?
I'm hearing from some of the residents that he's pulling the bill and rewriting this bill. Mr. Parrington, you have any knowledge?
I'll talk, Mr. I know
we received the draft a couple of days ago.
Councilman Johnson, if you could answer that for you, I think.
Someone posed that question to me before the meeting. I called Senator Amadei before the meeting and talked to him. What he told me is he is not pulling this bill. What his intention to do is amend it to have the issue of private or new subdivisions expanded in the bill as far as adding in different sections. It's in there on page 2 of the bill, and he informed me that he is going to have that implemented or installed in the bill in more places, but he is not pulling the bill at all.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Councilman Tyler? No? Councilman Wilson?
I had another question about it that I had in the one of the paragraphs that talks about the special assessments. It actually says that the assessments will be apportioned in a proportion to the benefits received by each tract of land. So instead of just being put out on a mill of the property like any other assessment, we're now saying we're gonna assess on different properties by the benefit that they're gonna receive by that's what the language says. It says, hold on, it says such assessment to be apportioned in proportion to the benefits received by the tract of land. So
By each tract of land.
So who decides who gets more benefit? Who decides how that's gonna be assessed? Who decides, I mean, if it's done by the benefit to that tract of land, how are we deciding that? I mean, that's very vague and very open.
Any other discussion? Councilman Schaffner?
Yes, I mean, I've got questions. I'm not interested in having increase in taxes. I think we've been looking at ways to try to not do that and still get infrastructure. It's been mentioned here before many times that can's been kicked down the road for 30, 40 years in this parish since we've been having development, and that's true. Kicking the can down the road, and in all probability the can will get kicked again. I have some concerns, and I continually ask people, give me an alternative, give me a way to figure out how we're going to build roads. Mr. Robert asked, where's the roads? We hadn't built any, except for hundreds of miles of roads in subdivision from new developments that were here because we got good jobs in this parish. And the school board does a very good job. We got a good school system. Sheriff does a very good job. We got a safe parish, and so people want to move here. And those two entities take about 80% of the property taxes in this parish, and they do a good job. And parish government, which has the task of providing roads and infrastructure, has 2.8% of the property taxes. That's just a fact. And it's pretty evident with the sales tax that the amount of sales tax we take in is a lot, that we can be available for roads is a lot less than what it costs to maintain our roads, much less build any new ones. So the water's going out faster than it's going in. That's a fact. So we have this problem. Everybody here tonight wants to solve this problem. Everybody up here wants to solve this problem. And I think we're trying to do it in a method that is not burdensome, or the least burdensome on people, because somebody has to pay for it. That's it. Somebody has to, you're not going to get a road for nothing. I just spoke with a couple of representatives this afternoon. If you think you're going to get some money from the state, you're wrong. We're not going to get any money from the state. If you think you're going to get some money from the federal government, we're wrong. We're not. We may get there's a good chance we're going to get a Tiger grant, which is one of the first ones around because we did our due diligence, and we may be able to come to the people and tell them a couple years from now that we were able to build a $10 million road, and it cost the people in this parish $1.2 million in their taxes. Hopefully that happens. We're trying to make that happen, efficient use of the money. but you have to do the first thing to get the second one. So, this proposal is not a savior for everything, and it's not the devil of everything, but it's one way of doing things, of trying to get that big bear that is subdivision roads under control where we can manage them. Right now, we could spend as much money as we have in our whole parish system on Pelican Point, which is right next to my house, that needs road improvements. So that wouldn't leave the rest of the people in this parish very happy. So my concern is this. This bill was put to me that we're looking at taking the future subdivisions of this parish. Am I right, Mr. Parrington?
Yes.
We're looking at taking the future. The idea that this council has embraced is to try to get something for future subdivisions and a way to assess them with the task of maintaining their roads. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to the wordage that says that. If we're not there yet, we need to get there. Because if we continue to take in these subdivisions, we can't pay for them. We just can't. Because your road won't get fixed in the next few years, and your intersection won't get fixed, and we need a bunch of them. The reason we decided to pursue intersection improvements is because that has been proven the most cost-effective use of the monies, the dollar that you have. I come out of Loosemore every morning on the 44, and it doesn't do, we could 8-lane Loosemore Road, and we still can't get on 44. So we have to improve that if we're going to do it. So that's our problem if we're going to have improvements. I don't like the choices, and I don't have all the answers for sure. But from the people that I've spoken to, we're trying to get to that point where you have new development pays for their infrastructure. That's what I would support. Simply because we can't pay for it and we don't have any more monies to get it. Mr. Parrington, what on here assures that this is new development? Who is this involved in? And
it says for new roads.
New roads and
It says new residential
what,
road infrastructure.
if there is a question of whether it includes all of the parish or if it includes these people and the other people that live presently in the parish, what can we put in there to make that that more definitive? I think Mr. Malonson was saying that it was broad. Is there something that we can do to make it more definitive and request that to be in there so that the intent matches the wording?
Councilman, you will draft the ordinances which will set out the direct rules which will determine how these districts are set, how the millages are set, everything like that. That will be part of the parish council's responsibility. This is an enabling statute. This authorizes you to create ordinances to do that. So you can say a landowner, the property owner, all these things that have been questioned can be done by you. You're the people that would pass the laws that would determine this.
Okay, and I'm believe me, I'm not trying to, but I want to make sure that what we're intending is to be correct. A property owner is let's just say a developer that has land that wants to develop a subdivision, and it comes before the parish and says, I do not want private roads, I want assistance in maintaining the roads. Is that what we're looking for?
You can make those definitions in the ordinance. That's exactly what I'm telling you. This is an enabling statute. Just authorizes you to create ordinances to do this.
Okay.
So you will set the rules as to what the rules will be for this. It's an enabling statute that says Ascension Parish can do this. You would define what terms are involved, what the requirements are, all of that is for what the parish government can do. This just says you can create them.
Okay. And
You make the rules as to how to create them.
And then the method of doing that would be coming before the parish council and a vote?
By ordinance. It would have to be by ordinance. The only way you can do it is by ordinance.
And what would the limitations be?
The limitations are only what's in this the statute. You can be no broader than what this statute says, and you can make it as narrow as you want.
I would like to see wording that does limit it to what I've come to understand the intent for. I think Ms. Cazzo would express that earlier. I would like if we can introduce that wording to be new subdivisions, new developments, and by the request of the landowner who is developing, then I can support that would you come back with an ordinance. If it's not limited to that and it can be imposed upon the other people in the parish, then I'm not in support of it. So if we could, if that's something we can work out, then I can very much be in support of that as a way to want to allow monies to where we need to have them.
Okay. Councilman Melissa?
Just a question, but our main point of this is to make sure that new development is paying their own way and paying for it. Wouldn't going and changing the ordinance where we automatically take in all the roads and quit taking in the new subdivision roads so that the HOAs do have to take care of them, wouldn't that get to the same end? Be easier and be a lot better way for us to do this?
Councilman Sexton.
That is an alternative. That's definitely an alternative. We have that right now in some parts of Pelican Point, and they petition to come into the parish. In some parts of right by the diversion canal, and they want to move their roads into the parish, and they're very strong-willed about it, wondering why they can't be taken in, and roads improved. And the reason being, what ends up happening is that when they don't have the powers of everybody making contributions towards maintaining the roads, either a homeowners association is not receiving their funds or enabling to, or one of the neighbors don't in areas that don't have active homeowners associations. So what ends up happening, you have people that move here in good faith and move into developments, and then they're stuck with roads that are, number one, not patrolled by the sheriff, so it's a safety issue, and it's not safe. It becomes a hazard, and individual homeowners can't step up and maintain them. So it is a problem. It's going to create problems, and I'm concerned that it's going to create more problems than it solves, because unfortunately, when people do buy into, they don't look at all of their due diligence, and it's something that often is not seen. They assume that they're going to be taken care of there. So it's already a problem in this parish now. This just makes it the authority that everyone has to pay to maintain those roads. If we can do that with everyone requiring to pay to maintain them, which we do now for lighting districts, we do for drainage districts, we do for individual things right now. It's not going to put a burden on anybody if it's done, but we do, I think, is very much incumbent upon us to put the restrictions that are necessary to ensure that is the intent here. So,
Councilman Johnson.
One of the things in me looking over this resolution I agree with the conversation here. I think according to Senator Amade, as I mentioned earlier, that is his intention, and I would support something that specifically changed the wording in the legislation to be specific to only new subdivisions, to where in the authority, we don't have that authority if someone has to come to us to request that, to where we just don't have the ability to go out and arbitrarily pick any area and create a new road district. The other thing that within that, it's has been said here before. I'm not going to rehash it too much. It's the way I try to look at this stuff is we have some issues that are out there that we're trying to resolve, and we don't have all the answers to it. We try to go out there and utilize the tools that are available to us. Like Mr. Domingue said, one of the things that I can look back on one of the first years we were in office when the library tax come up for renewal, that's one of the things we talked about, me and Councilman Lohr, and I can't tell you the number of phone calls that we got saying leave that alone. Didn't get one phone call saying, yeah, I think you're looking at this the right way. Let's look at it and see where we can rededicate some taxes to. We're doing that again with drainage, with recreation right now. We're looking at, can we maintain drainage in this parish to do things that become positive and put some of that money that may not be needed in drainage in other areas such as recreation. And there is some debate amongst ourselves whether or not drainage has the funds to do what we need to do into the future to maintain as much protection from flooding as possible. So that's one of those other things that we're going to see. A couple of things that have been made, as far as the sheriff and the taxes he has, and whether or not he has the ability or the drive to roll some of those back to us, that's a strictly subject for him. And as my conversations with him in the past, I don't know that he has that ability according to his budget from what he expressed to me. And I don't definitely want to speak for him or put him in any kind of a box. It's something that individuals can talk to him about. But there are a couple of things that I do see that I think we've tried to do in a positive manner. Not everybody's going to agree with them. One of the other things mentioned tonight is the hospital. There has been taxes rolled back in the parish. It's been a long time ago. The 7 mil property tax years ago that was collected for the hospital was rolled back when the hospital was dissolved. As far as the new hospital and tearing as far as the hospital and tearing that down and building a new governmental building, yes, we are. But we're using existing money that's there within that fund, maybe a little bit more of what we have to put in to get it finalized. But at the end of the day, with a new building that's more energy efficient, plus all the office space that we're going to save where we're leasing space now and put them in buildings that we own, is going to come out as a positive from my understanding going into the future. So that cannot be looked at as a negative. Oh, yes, we are getting a new building that we're going to consolidate services, which is some things that people have talked to me about that they would like to see us do, to where they don't have to run to 4 or 5 different places, around the parish to take care of some simple services. So there are some things that I believe that we have accomplished in the right, the guys are trying to do the right thing and trying to make things better for the people that live here. We're not perfect. I don't profess to have all the answers. I think this, as Ms. Castle alluded to earlier, this is a tool that we could potentially use that at the request of an individual property owner or several property owners that want to develop a new subdivision, to bring this forward to the council and request this as a taxing district because they don't want the roads to be private. Is it perfect? I don't know. One of the things that was brought out tonight, Baton Rouge has passed this ordinance years ago, but yet the only thing they've used it for is sewer infrastructure. They haven't used it for roads. With Senator Amade's willingness to make this as ironclad as possible, and from what he indicated to me, that's what he wants to do. While I would like to see this resolution go forward, I would like to tie that to the point of where we get the final draft and our resolution is tainted on the fact that it's done to the point of where it is strictly for new development, as Councilman Shakespeare said.
You're making that in the form of a motion, Mr. Johnson, or no?
I'm going to wait.
Okay. Councilman Cluett?
Yeah, I just want to take another look at some of the stuff. Some of the things that came up tonight, basically, like the stipulation that just like Quick Take
I'm not buying all into this, but it's not quick take, okay? So there's no intention of anybody here. Liens on property. All of you, if you own anything, you're paying some taxes now. Quit paying them taxes and you'll get a lien on your property. This is nothing new, okay? All right, so this is nothing that's written in here. Some of the stuff that's written in here, like a page and a half about what you got to do if you want to go for a bond, it's in everything, all right? It's just stipulations on how you got to handle the people's money, all right? Taking private roads, okay? That was brought up, Councilman Shake Snyder, bless his soul, he inherited one of the private roads that I tried to take in, you know, and I have a couple. I live in a predominantly rural area, and I represent a predominantly rural area, but I also represent Ascension Parish as a whole up here. But the reason two of these roads that I've tried to get in, they didn't get in based on budget, okay? They didn't get in based on the fact that they couldn't prove that the standards of the roads were what we have standards today for accepting roads, the constructability of them and everything. Matter of fact, one of them is a pretty good-looking road. I feel bad for the people that's been living down there in that off Diversion Canal for years, and the people that's bought in, like Shake Snyder said, not knowing what the heck's going on. You know, why we don't have a 15-mile speed limit sign. You know, that's because that developer, who was born and raised in this parish and still lives in this parish, made a decision based on economics at that time that he would not follow the rules of a road that needed to be taken in by the parish, or its width, construction, whatever it was, okay? That was his choice, right? And those people are living with it, okay? That wasn't some stranger from New York with a suitcase and leaving with the money, okay? All right? So we have that issue. The other road we couldn't get in was some good old people that, you know, developed a good road, and it's not a blacktop, so we can't get them in right now. I'd love to take them in and let it stay gravel for 10 years or something, you know, and they won't even be on the road list. They'd love that, you know, just where we grade it every now and then. But, you know, we've reached the point of that's the rules we got in front of us. You know, how it works now with the subdivisions. O'Neill, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when the plat is entered, we have a couple developers here too, but when the plat is entered and goes in front of the commission, zoning commission, everybody in planning commission, and they go through it with a fine-tooth comb, then it comes in front of us for a final vote. When we vote that in, if that subdivision has 15 miles of road in it, and we approve that plat, we own those future roads. Am I wrong?
Under statutory dedication.
Statutory dedication, you got that?
Once the plat is dedicated and the roads are built to standards,
Yeah.
the property underneath them and the roads become the property of the
So the only thing we can do is try to watch them, inspect it, make sure the roads are built to our standards, and put a little bond on it for about a year.
You can
that
require
sometimes
the bond.
does not, would never cover a catastrophic failure. But anyway, that's, you know, to the extremes of what we got. And so anyway, when we accept that plat, we own that road. When this board right here says yay with a majority, we own 5 miles of road in the subdivision that's going to be built 3 years from now, or built out 10 years from now, okay? I'm just trying to clear that. You know, that's how it comes in. You know, working with state roads, you know, we have entered some parish money in to assist in intersection improvements and road improvements and, you know, things like that, to put up our share to get something done. So it's just like what was said, you know, you can sit on a 6-lane parish road. If you can't get across that 2-lane without any turning lanes, state road, you're in bad shape. We represent people. We're trying to help people out, okay, when we try to move some of that. The road plan that we came up, the tax that failed, hell, the people spoke, okay? But the fact is that not all of that was for buying state roads and trading state roads, okay? All right? The details, somebody needs to look at the details of that. Did we not advertise it right? Did we not explain it right? There's a good possibility of that. But not all of it was for state roads, okay? It was to go toward some parish roads, okay? All right? You know,
I know we've had some other comments, and I'm not gonna get into any comments, but the fact is, I'm gonna go ahead and, as far as, if you live in a rural area right now, and you pay your taxes, okay? And you might live on a good little old rural parish road. Well, I got news for you. Some of your taxes are going to pave or going to maintain a road in some of the best subdivisions in this parish. Okay? Now, is that unfair? That's how it's been for years. Creating a district that will, if we can get it cleared, because your money goes into a general fund that goes toward fixing roads. And the road in that subdivision may come up on the list before your road, okay? So there's a chance of that. Your road money is not exactly dedicated to your road. So, if that road district would work out good, take care of that, that might be a good thing. One of the things I like that was said tonight is tax neutral. We had a gentleman in the front that brought that up about, hey, let's go to, I would encourage you to each contact the assessor's office if you hadn't got a copy of your last taxes and see where the percentage of your taxes go. Okay? You got one there, that's good. But anyway, just look at it, and look at it in percentages of where your money goes. We don't have any authority over changing that right now, okay? We don't. We don't have the authority to go take a quarter cent from the sheriff. We don't have the authority to take the library's money, okay? But I'd say if you are interested in that, I'm sure that we can furnish you guys with the head of each one of these divisions of tax that you can contact those people and see if they're willing to give some up and move it to the roads. Bless your soul. We'll work with you on that, because I don't want to tax anybody either. I believe in tax neutral if we can move some stuff around, just like what Brian was talking about, several times. Yeah. So, I would like Benny and Kent would like a little bit of clarity for just the new subdivisions. But sometimes we are going to spend some road monies to try to help move traffic around the parish, and some of that's going to be joined with some improvements to a state road, and that I'll defend that. We tried. That's it.
Okay, Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yeah, Mr. Rain, I didn't say all state roads on that half set.
No,
I did say the majority.
Yeah,
and
I'm good.
And they had a few parish roads that were in there specified that we were going to take care of, Roddy, and a few other ones.
I'm good.
But the general maintenance of our parish roads, we had nothing in that plan.
Nothing written out specific.
That's correct. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
I didn't say all state roads, but the majority. And one other thing, you mentioned another one, your private road, that developer had a choice.
Yeah.
What we passing tonight, that developer still has a choice to go private.
Yeah.
Or.
Yeah, he does.
He still has a choice. So we're still in the same, and Kent mentioned something about the sheriff's department ain't gonna, protect the people that's in that subdivision. Well, we're gonna have some private subdivisions with the same plan that we fixing to move this resolution on. Because they have an option to go private. If they go private, I'm not sure if the sheriff's department won't go in there, but
no, he's gonna go in.
I
He's
think
gonna
he
go
will.
in. No, I don't think that was implied.
But anyway, they do have a choice.
Set the speed limit.
It's actually giving the developer a choice. Because there's going to be a developer that owns this property that's going to develop it, and he's got to vote on it, just him. Not all the people, because the people are going to come after he done developed the subdivision. So they won't really have a vote. They'll have an option whether they buy into his subdivision, whether they have a private road, or whether they're going to pay a 15 mil property tax. So they got their option. Okay, I'm going to have private roads, I'm going to pay a 15 mil property tax. They may deter both of them and not go, go somewhere else.
Yeah, they had the option whether to move there or not.
And I think it's going to slow your development down, which, maybe that's what you're wanting, but I'm not sure,
Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quick, and I apologize, this was the whole intent. It was for new development only. How it got blown out, well, we'll work this out. But this is the thing. 2 weeks ago, we were in a state transportation meeting. You think this is big? The state rolled out, they said, look, this is how many state miles of roads we take care of. We want this reduced. There are 50 parishes in that room with us, and guess what? Ascension Parish was number one. Thank you for doing your road swap with us. You work with us. There's other things that we've done. My friend, you at the crossroads right now. You're going to make bigger decisions than what we're making here tonight, because the state is going to release these roads, and you're going to be ready or not. That's it.
Mr. President.
I'm going to just continue with you, Dempsey. You know, doing nothing is not an option. I mean, the numbers are not going to lie. I mean, and I will tell you that this hadn't started before the tax. This started years ago in 1990s. I mean, back then we tried to get Highway 42 widened, okay? We had the same problems. We had people that was came up and fought it because they didn't want it widened, they didn't want to do this, and we were going to take and put another interchange. At that time, it cost $24 million. Today, just to do from Airline Highway to 44 is going to be about $45 million. So, and again, it cost us, because you can't build a state road with federal funds without providing sanitary sewer. So it cost us, it was supposed to cost us $3 million, as Todd said. That agreement was made before we came in. It was about 7 years ago. It was supposed to cost us $3 million on 42 and about $1.5 million on 73. It ended up costing us $3 million on 73 and $5 million on 42. So again, the problem is going to continue to multiply. It's going to continue to grow. You know, if you don't do anything, it's okay. You got 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road. You'll start having to make some decisions. I won't be here, okay? That's okay. But I'm worried about what's going to happen here in the future. Quint Moore, I understand you might want to run for office, okay? So, you know, you might want to come up and bring me a solution. I'd like to hear your solution. You know, if you have one, Brian, I'd like to hear yours. Todd, yours. I mean, I'm willing. If you want to make a motion not to take any more or do any work on state roads, I'm fine with that. Brian, if you want to make a motion and not to take any more roads into the system and cut it off and make every road private, I'm good with that. Make the decisions, but at least do something. Come up with a solution. That's okay with me. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just trying to give you some options. Another option is to take some roads that we have in the parish that actually go down to one road, one house, okay? It's a driveway. It's not a road, okay? And we maintain those roads. We got some that go around in a circle. They don't have anything on it. I can take, anybody wants to go, I'll go show them, okay? So let's just take those roads and just stop maintaining them and let them go back to gravel, and then we'll be like Randy. We'll have more gravel roads and keep going that way in the priority. And eventually, with having no resources, we'll get to a point where we can maybe break even, and that's okay too. But that's another solution if we want to look at it. But to sit up here, I mean, it's now a day, I just want to publicly thank him for at least bringing this bill forward. And I think the intent is to only be for new development, only be for new roads. The only people that's going to use those roads are the people that's going to ride on them that live in the subdivision. So they're the ones that's going to pay for them. It's kind of a pay-as-you-go type thing. But at some point, you got to put the state has a number of roads that they take in. They got 16,000, I think, 44 miles, if I'm not mistaken. That's it. They don't take any more roads in. They're trying to unload roads. That's correct right now. They're trying to get as many roads off the books as they can. They want to give it to you, and they want to pay you for them. That's not a bad option, because I think in the future that they're going to actually give them to you, and you're still not going to, you're still going to have to maintain them, but you're not going to get any money to improve them or to do anything with. Heck, the $13 million that went to Baton Rouge, we were eligible to get at least 10 of that, okay? But now they're using it, and they got it for Government Street. They're going to make a good development. Kudos to them, you know? But we can keep sitting back and do like 42. We can be 25 years from now. No matter what we do, this parish is not going to sit still. It's going to continue moving. And it's just going to pass you by. And again, Mr. Robert, I lived in Darrah. I lived where you live. When I lived there, it was a gravel road, so we ate dust the whole time. So I'm glad to see at least you on a blacktop road. Kramer Road used to be Martinez Road, so I understand all that. So the parish has changed the plants. We talked about that. The plants pay 62% of the property tax in this parish, and they pay 62%
of the sales tax here. So, you know what? I've talked to the plant managers. They've come to me in the last 2 or 3 months and asked me to go see the governor with them and sit down and set up meetings because of the traffic on Highway 30. They can't safely get their people in and out if they have some kind of thing. So rather than us going to them, they're coming to us, and we're trying to help them. So they are paying their fair share. And again, we have a limited amount of money. Our taxes are dedicated. Mr. Domain had an idea. You want to rededicate taxes, that's fine. But let me tell you, I want to see who's going to go up here and start talking to these guys and make that suggestion. Because it's not going to happen, okay? I can tell you that. Ronnie Hughes, the prior parish president, brought that up. I think some of you might have been on the council then. Brought it up, and what happened? Okay? That didn't go anywhere. So, again, it's just a matter of time. It's a time bomb. It's ticking. You're $3 million a year in the hole. Probably a few years ago, you were $1.5 million. But if you keep taking roads, you're never going to get ahead because it costs more to do roads now, and we're taking in more and more and more roads. So, like I said, if anybody's got a solution, I think they need to come up with it. As I said, whoever's going to be sitting in this seat the next 4 years after this will certainly face the same problem. And hopefully, if I got to take the heat right now, I don't mind taking the heat, but we need to come up with some sort of a solution. This might not be the answer, but I'm still waiting for the answer. But I think Mr. Amadei is going to make this bill to where it does say only new subdivision roads. That's what he assured me, and that's what I was told. Now, I don't know if you talked to him, Benny, tonight. I think that's probably what the intent is. So, again, without that, you're going to eventually make the decision. All this does is enable you to create this district. If you create the district, you draft the ordinance the way you want to. And at that time, I think that's when the debate's going to start, and it should. And then you can craft it any way you'd like to do. So, again, at some point, my whole point in bringing, sometimes you keep throwing things at the wall, every now and then one will stick. Well, hopefully something will stick to where we can at least address this problem in some way. We can't let it continue. You need to be made aware of it. We haven't had enough money in years to make our roads perfect. And we're deteriorating and losing ground as we go if we continue to take roads in. 25 more miles, 400 more thousand a year to take care of it is going to continue to deteriorate more. So, like I said, if anybody else got some ideas, I'd certainly be the first one to support them.
Councilman Johnson.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we support the resolution with the clarifications by Senator Amadei that this is strictly for new subdivision.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? Any objections? We'll do a roll call. Madam Secretary, please.
Councilwoman Cazzo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Kluwat.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Joseph.
Yes.
Councilman Dingy Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Ty Lambert.
No.
Councilman Brian Alonso.
No.
Councilman Shakespeare.
Yes.
Councilman Turner.
No.
The motion passes and the ayes have it. Give me just a moment. My iPad has died. Getting an assist here.
There you go.
Okay, I got it. Item number 9 is a resolution HMGP 1603N-005-0004, wind retrofit of critical facilities, substantial completion. Ms. Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. We have completed the wind hardening of the parish president's office in Dutchtown High School. And I'm here tonight for the approval of the substantial completion pending the punch list to be completed.
Motion by Councilman Dempsey-Maywood, second by Councilman Johnson. Any discussion? Opposition? That motion passes.
Thank you, Mr.
Item-
Chairman.
Thank you. Item number 10 is an introduction of an ordinance to declare surplus and authorize the sale and/or transfer of miscellaneous movable equipment. Motion introduced by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Kluwat. Any objections? Hearing none, ordinance is introduced. Item 11 is an introduction of an ordinance DR 14-01, revisions to the drainage regulations and the Unified Land Development Code pertaining to erosion and sediment control. Motion introduced by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Kluwat. Any objections? Ordinance is introduced. Item 12 is an introduction of an ordinance to amend an ordinance providing for the increase of fees assessed by the sheriff. Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Johnson to introduce. Any objections? Ordinance is introduced. Item 13 is an introduction of an ordinance for budget amendment number 1 to amend the 2014 budget. Motion by Councilman Turner, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. To introduce. Any objections? Hearing none, that ordinance is introduced. We'll move into the public hearing section. Item 14, reading of an ordinance to reroute the existing 15-foot drainage servitude running along the northeast corner of Lot 11 in Eagles Landing subdivision. First filing. Mr. Barrington.
To revoke an existing 15-foot drainage servitude located across the northeast corner of Lot 11 of Eagles Landing subdivision. First filing in Ascension, Louisiana, and relocate the servitude within Lot 11. Whereas the petition has petitioned the Ascension Parish Council to revoke the dedication of the existing 15-foot servitude located within northeast corner of Lot 11 of Eagles Landing subdivision, filing in Ascension, Louisiana, and relocate the servitude on Lot 11. Whereas the Planning Commission, the Planning Department, Drainage Department, Engineering, and no relevant utility companies have reviewed and researched and have said request and have no objection to the revocation and relocation, the Ascension Parish Government Authority hereby ordains that it grants approves the revocation of the existing foot drainage servitude located on the northeast corner of Lot 11 of Eagles Landing, filing in Ascension Parish, and the relocation of the same lot as more fully described in the plat attached here to and made a part of Exhibit A. Repeal all ordinances or other ordinances in conflict herewith or hereby henceforth repealed. If any provision of this ordinance is held invalid, such invalidity shall not affect any provision other than which shall be given effect without the invalid provision. And to this effect, the provision of this ordinance is hereby declared to be severable. Effective this ordinance shall become effective 15 days after adoption.
Motion to open the public hearing by Councilman Denson Lambert, second by Councilman Johnson. Any motion to speak?
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilman Johnson. Second by Councilman Denson Lambert. Need a motion to move the ordinance.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Lawson. Any discussion? Any objections? Ordinance is adopted. We'll move to 17, which is reading of an ordinance to revoke the existing 15-foot drainage servitude along the western boundary of lots 3 and 4, Ascension Commercial Park subdivision. Mr. Barrington.
To revoke the existing 15-foot drainage servitude located across lots 3 and 4, lots 1 through 17, at Tract X and Tract Y of Ascension Parish Commercial Park, located in Section 50, Township 9, South Range 2, each in Geismar, Louisiana. Whereas the petition is petitioning the Ascension Parish Council to revoke the dedication of the existing 15-foot servitude located across lots 3 and 4 and of lots 1 through 17, Tract X and Tract Y of Ascension Commercial Park, Section 50, Township 9, South Range 2, East in Geismar, Louisiana. Whereas the Planning Department, Drainage Department, Engineering, and the relevant utility companies have reviewed and researched and said requests and have no objection to the revocation, the Parish of Ascension hereby ordains that and it grants and approves revocation of the existing 15-foot servitude located across lots 3 and 4 of lots 1 through 17, Tract X and Y, Tract Y of Ascension Commercial Park, Section 50, Township 9, South Range 2, East in the Geismar, Louisiana, more fully described in the plat attached here to made a part of Roads Exhibit A. All ordinances or parts of the ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby and henceforth repealed. If any provision of this ordinance is held to be invalid, such invalidity shall not affect any provisions herein which shall be given effect without the invalid provisions. That is, in the provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared to be severable. Effective date. This ordinance shall become effective 15 days after adoption.
Motion open public hearing.
Motion up the public hearing by Councilman Johnson. I think the second was by Councilman Cazzo. Motion to close by Councilman Johnson. Second by Councilman Denson Lambert. Need a motion to move the ordinance. Motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert, second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Discussion. Objections. Ordinance is adopted. Okay, we'll move to 20, which is an ordinance to amend an ordinance to comply with Louisiana Revised Statute 18532.1, authorizing the parish governing authority to reestablish precinct boundaries. Mr. Barrington.
To amend an ordinance adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on June 29, 2011, in compliance with Louisiana Revised Statute 18:532.1, authorizing the parish governing authorities to reestablish precinct boundaries, to repeal descriptions and designations of existing parish precinct boundaries, define the territory of each precinct, describe the boundaries of each district, designate each new precinct, and to address other matters relative thereto. Whereas the Ascension Parish is a local government subdivision as defined by Article 6, Section 44 of the Louisiana Constitution of 1974. Whereas Article 6 of the Home Rule Charter of Ascension Parish, adopted May 4, 1993, identifies the process and manner in which to adopt ordinances regulating the parish. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Ascension Parish governing authority that the ordinance to repeal descriptions and designations to existing parish council precincts, define the territory of each precinct, describe the boundaries of each precinct, designate each precinct, and to address other matters relative to is amended as described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof. In the event any portion of this ordinance is ever held to be invalid or unconstitutional for any reason by any court of competent jurisdiction over it, such portion shall be deemed separate, distinct, and independent provisions that are not effective validity of the remaining portions of the ordinance. The ordinance shall be in full effect if permitted by law. The ordinance has been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Motion now.
Motion by Councilman Tyler Lambert, second by Councilman Wallace.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wallace. I have a motion by Councilman Tyler Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Johnson. Any discussion, questions? Any opposition? Hearing none, ordinance is adopted. Item number 23 is to amend an ordinance to reestablish precinct boundaries within existing Ascension Parish Council districts adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on June 29, 2011. Mr. Parent.
To amend an ordinance adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on June 29, 2011, Plan B2, and amended on August 24, 2011, in compliance with Louisiana Revised Statute 18:532.1, authorizing parish governing authorities to reestablish precinct boundaries within existing parish council districts. Ascension Parish is a local government authority. The subdivision is defined by Article 6, Section 44 of the Louisiana Constitution of 1974. And whereas Article 6 of the Home Group Charter of Ascension Parish, adopted May 4, 1993, identifies the process and manner in which to adopt ordinances regulating the lands of this parish. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Ascension Parish governing authority that the ordinance to reestablish precinct boundaries within existing Ascension Parish council districts and to address other matters relative thereto is amended as described as Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof. In the event any portion of this ordinance is ever held to be invalid or unconstitutional for any reason by any court of competent jurisdiction over it, such portions shall be deemed separate, distinct, and independent provisions and are not effective validity of the remaining portions of the ordinance. This ordinance shall be in full effect as permitted by law. The ordinance has been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Motion to open public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing by Councilman Wallace.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Keza.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilman Johnson.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Keza.
Move the ordinance.
Motion to move the ordinance by Councilman Tyler Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Keza. Discussion. Any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. And we'll move on to item 26. Motion adjourned by Councilman Tyler Lambert, second by Councilman Kluwat. We are adjourned.